Item 1, call the meeting to order and record the members present and absent.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Ellis.
Here. Item 2, read the open meeting compliance statement.
I, the undersigned clerk of the Board of Education of the Alva Independent School District Number 1 of Woods County, Oklahoma, certify that prior to December 15 of the last calendar year, the date, time, and place of this regular meeting was filed in the office of the county clerk of Woods County, Oklahoma. I also certify that at least 24 hours prior to this meeting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, notice of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting was posted in prominent public view at the location of the meeting. Witnessed by hand this 2nd day of November 2015.
Item 3, the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of routine nature are normally approved by one board vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following. 3A, addition of items of new business to the agenda.
Have none.
Minutes of the October 5th regular board meeting and the October 12th, 2015 special board meeting. Three C, approval of the treasury report on the status of funds and investments.
Again, you have this prepared for David. It was laying on the desk. So the big thing is that we've got $4,766,993.43, and that's not in counting all of our salaries, utilities, because those all been encumbered. So we're saying in really good shape.
Any questions on that? 3D, approval of activity fund report.
And during my part, you'll find out some more information on fundraisers and so forth. We're going to try to upgrade you a little bit quicker on those fundraisers and how they do, because you'll see a lot of money going into those categories after that.
E, approval of activity account fundraisers, attachment A.
Any questions on any of the fundraisers?
What is baseball band booster? What are they trying to?
Putting those banners up on the fence and those types of
Okay.
things there.
F, approval of items declared as surplus, attachment B.
Get rid of a lot of our textbooks. I did email textbook to a company, and he's willing to buy some. And then he's got some places that he can give those books to in the city areas, such as I think he said some shelters and stuff like that.
And 3G, child nutrition report.
This is the first one that we've had, and it looks like that our total expenditures of about 57,000, total income 70,000 to this day. Plus, we have about $20,000 in inventory. So we are in good shape at this point in time. And again, our federal reimbursement is doing well, so we're getting more kids signed up for that. I will tell you that Verlita did apply for a state position, and they hired somebody else, so she will be staying here as our child nutrition. But right now, we look pretty good in our food. And I think part of our expenditures, because we joined a consortium to buy food, is helping us with the cost of food, because I looked at a year ago and our food cost was a lot higher than what it was to this date, so that's helped out. I've had several calls on the new cafeteria where an outside agency comes in. I know Cherokee's involved with it. I know Kingfisher's involved with it. So those are some things that we may look at in the future and see where we're at.
What, on the supplies, rentals, and repairs, what are the rentals? I've seen that and it just dawned on,
Well, we may have people come in and rent it, and then we have to buy something special for that, so that's just a price, and so they'll repay us for it,
oh, it's when we rent, okay,
and some
Okay.
expenses,
okay,
and then they repay it back to us.
okay. Any motion? I move that we accept consent agenda 3A through 3G.
I second.
Sorry,
She taking.
sorry.
Martin,
Yes.
Me, yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye. Item 4, vote to approve or not to approve the purchase order encumbrances for the following funds for FY 2016, listed A, B, C, A, B, and C.
Just a couple of items that I wanted to present to you to make sure. Bank Central Purchase Order 477. Really didn't know that Bank Central did this, but I went to their open house and they did, and they came in and fixed all of our cameras at the high school so that we were able to see and everything. What? Les?
What they do is
Somebody else wanted to charge us $38,000,
We were right.
and this is what we ended up paying, $58,000. So we're in working condition right now. And our security system's pretty good up there.
we've got to, that number was to get everything that we had up and running. And now we've got a few cameras that we need to replace because they're just bad. They've run their lifespan.
But their cost of our
We do that.
to us for the cameras is like about $100, and where we've been paying $400,
Yeah,
and they're still making profits.
and it's, they're local. He comes in, Terry had a question today. He came back from lunch, stopped by, helped her. She was showing 16 cameras instead of 32. He had changed the password upstairs. He came back down, stopped, took him 5 minutes to do it. Had we gone with another company, it would have been 2 weeks for them to come and $300 or $400
Mileage
to do
and
it.
everything else.
It's really, really a good deal. Like I said, we're going to come back this next month and try to replace a few cameras that, for one reason or another, they've turned orange, and you can see the image on there, but it's not recording quality. You couldn't tell anything from it. So we got about 6 indoor cameras and 2 outdoor cameras that we need to replace. So the total cost of everything that we're going to do is going to be less than $10,000 as opposed to $40,000.
yeah.
So, so that's it's outstanding.
And didn't know that they were doing it until I went to the open house. So, very good. 494, that's our annual fire alarm inspection for all the schools. 502, refinishing the basketball floors at the high school. 519, K&K Body Works. Mr. Nation had a deer run in with him up in Indiana, so that was a cost to fix that. And then Edgenuity, that is our software for alternative school, for credit recovery, and lots of things. That's what we call E2020. So, and then on the next page, 538, 539, that is what E-rate will not pick up. And E-rate has picked up 80%. And basically, that's allowing us for a better testing security when we do, and managing and getting the Wi-Fi that we need when everybody's testing at one time on those computers. So that was a little added cost that we haven't seen in the past, because E-rate has been picking up a lot more, and they're backing off of what they're picking up from the schools. And 537, that's CDWG. That's just some software upgrade for the schools and for the students. Any other questions on any of those other encumbrances? Co-op fund, just normal parent travel contracted services. Plumbing problems throughout the district, so that's an open PO in the building fund.
Move that we approve the purchase order encumbrances for general fund, co-op fund, and building fund. Second.
Slater?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ellis?
Aye. Item 5, principal reports.
I don't know, some of you guys know, but our school has been doing some intergenerational learning for the last 5 years or more, actually. Mrs. Peace has continued to do this for the past 5 years. She, Mrs. Gilchrist, who's first grade, has paired up with her this year, where they visit Needles Nursing Home once a month and engage in various activities. I went and participated this last month and watched the students interact with the residents. And last year I went when they do Olympic Games in the spring, and I've enjoyed watching the kids do that. This year they are starting, well, and I think they did this the past years also, they start each day when they go over there with a reading, where they read with the residents, and the residents really enjoy that time and get to see the students progress, because some of them are kindergarten, so they really show a lot of growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It's probably a little bit more of the residents reading to them, especially to begin with. And then they usually do an art project and they have snacks. And they do this with the residents at Beatles. The kids get to pick who they want to partner up with. And Mrs. P says a lot of the times they'll kind of get the same group because they have that bond. Certain residents want to work with certain kids and vice versa. And other times they just go and do whatever they want. But she said over the years she can name a couple that it was like almost they became territorial over each other. This is who I want to be with. But she said that bond was really neat to see that they created such a strong bond over such a short period of time. This last month they did a Halloween project where they did this, I don't know what you call them, where they kind of scratch and it changes colors. And they did that with the residences. This next month in November, which she wanted me to invite you guys. Open invitation, November 13th at 1:30. She'd like for anyone to come in and see them working with each other. They're going to do a project for Northwest Family Services together. And in December, they do gingerbread houses. They build gingerbread houses together. In the spring, like I said, they help with the Olympic Games, and I believe a high school group helps with this too, or they have in the past, where residents from as far as Anthony, Kansas come, and they compete in games and activities, and the kids will cheer them on and participate, and they will help serve them lunch. And Mrs. Peace said that over the years, a lot of the residents from the other communities, the whole reason why they want to come is because they want to be with the kids, the little ones. Sometimes they don't get to see those little ones. And some of them just choose to read with the kids on the side. She also said that last year they did a gardening project where they helped plant different plants in the front yard of beetles, and the residents will either just watch or they'll come and participate with them. But it's a neat program she has going on, and I know our pre-K has done it in the past as well. They haven't done it for a while, but I enjoy seeing Mrs. Peace continue it on. It's a lot of work to put together activities that they'll both enjoy, but it is a joy to see the older community members get to work with such youthful, the children, because it makes their youthfulness come out as well. So come and see them sometime, and I'll be happy to give other dates as we progress throughout the year, because it is something fun to see. And I took a lot of pictures this last time, and just the one-on-one eye contact, you can really tell there was real connections being made. It's pretty neat to see, so I wanted to share that with you guys. If you didn't know that we were doing that, that is something that we've been doing for quite a while now.
Where do you go?
Beatles.
Okay.
Beatles Nursing Home. And like I said, the next one will be Friday, November 13th at 1:30.
Okay, at Longfellow, I've taken my share of phone calls, but I've only taken phone calls on curriculum over one thing, and that's when we got our new math curriculum 3 or 4 years ago, and a lot of parents did not like it that much. And to be honest with you, after the first 3 days, I didn't like it that much either, because I was taking several phone calls on it. Mrs. Swallow, at that time, had started a math night for the parents in her class. This year, we did that with all of the second grade. And so we had all second grade parents. We invited all them up one evening to come up to the school and meet with our second grade teachers. Mrs. Swallow put on basically went through a math lesson with all of the parents and talked about the different vocabulary and different terminology used in Vision math compared to our math in the past, compared to Saxon math, and basically explained to them. I explained to them that, like I said, after the first 3 days, I wasn't terribly fond of it either, but our math scores went up considerably in Vision math. It is a considerably different terminology than what they're used to getting. We still have parents that contact our teachers and say, we did not understand this lesson. And so our teachers will go through it with the parents and things like that. That math night has really helped us at Longfellow as far as communicating with the parents and letting them know, kind of giving them some insight into our math curriculum. And that has been very successful for us.
How does that relate to the tests that you take? I mean, does it match the test, the wording, vocabulary, and all of that?
It does a little bit. Now, in second grade, we don't test. Okay, I mean, we don't take a state mandated test. Third grade, we do. And it does. I tell you one thing it does is it makes our kids critically think a lot more than what Saxon math did. It makes you end up solving problems in multiple ways. You know what I mean? It may be 7 minus 3, where there's different ways to think of it, and so our teachers teach different strategies according to Envision Math, and it's like I said, when we first got it, it's the only curriculum I've ever taken a phone call on, you know, as far as parents not liking it, but it has been very successful for us. And once parents realize that our test scores have gone up considerably in third grade, our third grade math test scores have gone up considerably, that they're willing to put in a little bit extra effort at home with their kids.
Must be the same way in Texas, because my daughter just is frustrated over the math and the vocabulary and things of that nature for a first grade. Because everything's changed so much.
One of the things I saw on Facebook about new math curriculum is that you arrive at the correct score, the correct answer, but it wasn't the way.
There are different strategies to teach. I've seen some stuff on Facebook too, which is not necessarily what we're doing with our Envision Math. You know what I mean? And
But is there
However-
reteaching? Is there reteaching like?
not like Saxon. Saxon math used to have unit 1, 2, 3, and in unit 3 they're still teaching unit 1. You know what I mean?
Right.
And right now, so this does to an extent not near to the extent of Saxon math. Saxon math is more memorization stuff. This teaches kids to critically think more.
But I've heard some really good things from the parents and appreciate it. The teachers coming at night to just talk about the math vocabulary. Helped them out quite a bit.
Okay, I handed each of you a kind of what we do when we PLC. I mentioned that before, that when we meet in a PLC and then we'll benchmark. And I just kind of want to give you an idea of really what is involved with that. So I took a 4th grade math class and a 5th grade math class and just kind of gave you the information that these teachers are using. Obviously, the report cards came out a while back, and certainly, obviously, the information is not what we want, and the grades sure wasn't what we want. So we do take that serious. We understand that we need to look at the data, but we also understand that that's not our entire mission. So if you look, so I'll kind of walk you through it. This first page that this teacher uses, she did a math benchmark. You look at the second page, and she graphed out how each individual student did. And then from that, the teachers get together and they meet, and they go back and look at their curriculum and what they're going to be teaching this second 9 weeks. There may be some reteaching where they need to go back and they kind of replan and give themselves an outline as to what they'll be doing. The next page in there, it says 4th grade intervention, and I went through and took all the names out and just put some letters there. But what I wanted to show you with that, one of the things on the report card that we always seem to take a hit on is growth with the bottom quartile. And part of that is those students in 4th grade have to show growth, or in 4th grade have to show growth between that 3rd and 4th grade year. Well, that's a big jump in vocabulary, in expectations, it's a new building. There's all kinds of factors to that. So what we went through is we went through and we identified what we believe to be, at this point from last year's testing, who those bottom 11 are, and we want to make sure that we're seeing those students in early intervention. And that's a real fluid thing. Early intervention is a time where they can work in a group of one-on-one. There may be only 2 other students in there, 3 at the most, and they work with our title reading teacher and get some real fundamental work in language arts and in math. And that's really basically, if you turn the page, this next teacher, this is a 5th grade language arts. She used Study Island benchmark. When she came in to give me the test, she immediately was like, no, some of this we haven't covered. And I understand that. And again, we don't want to be completely driven by test scores. But she was able to explain kind of some of the things. You can see where she's gone through and identified students. You can kind of see the highlight marks on there where she knows she needs to go back and do some reteaching. Again, she'd written down here at the bottom of the page capitalization and how she feels like that will improve. And then at the end of it, those teachers met together and looked at their curriculum map. So just kind of give you an idea of what our teachers are doing on a weekly basis. They really proud of them. They do a great job. A lot of scrutiny involved. We always talk about these things, and then I always say, remember the experiences as much as the test scores. So we want to make sure we're providing good instruction, but we also want to make sure that our kids have a good experience in school too. So that kind of gives you an idea. I welcome you to come up and visit any of those PLCs. We try to have all kinds of graphs and charts and really look at those things to see if there's something that we can do better when we're instructing. It's really important to us. And if you'd ever want to come see any of that, more than welcome to come. And I've got plenty of notebooks that I've 3-hole punched and put together that I'll let you look at. So, Ron.
Well, this is really the first opportunity I've had to come visit with you this year, but kind of along the same lines of what Tim's doing. We got together and looked at some test scores and felt like one of the places where we wanted to really have an emphasis this year was reading and writing. And so we reinstituted what we used to call bug break. And what that is a 20-minute session after lunch where we're trying to put an emphasis on reading and writing. And what they do is it's a continuous thing through the week. On Mondays, our students are split up into groups of about anywhere from 15 to 20 in different classrooms. And they are given a writing prompt, or a prompt that they are to write on. And we give them 10 minutes to write their ideas on that writing prompt. And then the last 10 minutes of the period, we have open discussion about what that writing prompt was about. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have deer time, which is just drop everything and read. Our students read a selection of their choice for 20 minutes on both those days. Thursdays, the students in those bug break classrooms choose it's a novel chosen by the class as a whole that the students read on Thursdays only. In that bug break group, they choose it from selected titles from our reading teachers and our media specialists, and they can deliver that in any method they want. Students can read aloud, teacher can read aloud to them, and they vary that method in which they read that. And then the students use those novels as part of their AR program, part of their reading program. And then on Fridays, we come together as a big group in the cafeteria after lunch, and we have a presentation, whether each week a different teacher is in charge of the presentation. They may bring in outside speakers or bring in somebody on FaceTime or Skype that we put up on the big screen or whatever. And it's a character education session that is tied in with the writing prompt that they did on Monday. So whatever their writing prompt is on Monday, they put their ideas down on paper and save it in a folder, bring it to our meetings on Friday for our character education, and compare what they've discussed and what they've written with whatever our presenter is talking about. And it's always directed towards some kind of character education issue that is very prevalent in what our 12 and 13 and 14-year-old students are seeing. And we just finished our first 9-week benchmarks when we came back from fall break. We showed, just since we've been doing this for 9 weeks, it showed about an 18% increase in scores over what those 9-week benchmarks were last year. So we're hoping that that'll carry over with OCC tests on reading and writing coming up in April.
How is the bug break reading, the reading of the novels, Deer and all of that, how is it measured? To where you know that there are gains and you're seeing gains?
We do that. We use star reading as our benchmarks, and the main thing we are trying to do to get students to read is just to read for comprehension, because that's what most of the tests measure is comprehension. So those stories that the students read on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are books of their choosing that they like, that they would enjoy, and then it also ties in with their accelerated reader program. So they take AR tests on those. We don't specifically test on our benchmarks to that book that the students read. It's a bigger picture as far as comprehension goes. And that's what our benchmark, and we've designed we found a way where we could design our benchmarks to where they mirror how the students have to respond when they take the SEC test. So our 9-week benchmarks look a lot like the tests that they have to take in April to try to maybe take away some of that anxiety or whatever it might be for those big tests.
Thank you.
Okay. At the high school, I handed you out one of these A through F report card sheets that we go through that. And this is the testing area that is so much in the news about it being real controversial. So I want to present this to you with an asterisk by it, because I want you to understand that statistically these numbers are not accurate, or the way that they figure our score, it's not a true reflection of our students' ability or the numbers that we put up to do what we do. Saying that, I think any time that you get an A in what we do, and whatever they are comparing to, they're using the same formula for everything. And because we have an A- in that, I think that it's something that we can look at. We can use that data and continue to try to do better. And then when the researchers from OU and OSU that are working on this come up with a new formula to accurately represent what schools are doing, then we should fare well in that process also, if not better. The way that this process works is about 4 weeks ago, they sent me an email and gave me a preliminary score, and it was like, I want to say it was 81 or 82. It was a B-. And I was kind of shocked when I got that. So I called the very next day. I got those like on a Monday or Tuesday. Called the very next day to accreditation. I talked to a person there, and I said, I want you to relook at our scores, because they give you a little time. You get this preliminary number, and then they say, if you have any questions about this, call. Well, I didn't have any specific questions. I thought it was low. I wanted them to relook at it. And so about 2 days after that, which was, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday, 3 weeks ago, they sent me an email. And they said, based on a second look, based on new criteria that has surfaced, the first email I got said, we've got new data. It didn't change your overall score. I'm like, okay, well, they looked at it and it's going to be a B-. 2 days after that, a Monday or Tuesday the following week, I got another email, and it said, based on a review of your data, we have new information. We've got new statistics that counted, and your school report card has been raised to a B. I'm like, all right, well, they looked at it, raised up a little bit, that's good. I get a third email a couple of days after that said, we got, based on another review, we got new data. It didn't change your school report card. The following Monday, I get another email, 4 emails in this whole process. 2 of them didn't change our scores. The last one I got said, based on new data, you now have an A-. So I don't know what in the world they're doing down there, but I got 4 different emails. 2 of them raised our school report card, and 2 of them, they found new data and they entered the data into the equation, and it didn't change our numbers. So if you just look at this, and so just take that with a grain of salt, that it's really, it's a value that all schools get. And if you look at what we do, the biology and the U.S. history are the 2 things that are going to stick out at you, because what they do with those 2 numbers is they don't tell you what a passing score is going to be before you take those 2 tests. They have everybody take the test, and then they tell you what the cut score is. And so we started looking at that, Mrs. Manning in particular, and Mr. Olbert, because are two outstanding teachers at our high school, and they're concerned about these scores. When they see this, they feel like it's a direct reflection of them, and I assure them that it's not. So anyway, Mrs. Manning gets on the computer, because you can see everybody's score in the whole state now. You can pull every district up. You can pull it up by county. You can pull it up by school district and see everybody's school report card. She got online and pulled up at least 18 districts that are around us. And from as small as Freedom to as big as Enid. Blackwell, Newkirk, Perry, Ponca City, everybody that direction. Freedom. Burlington didn't have enough scores to get a school report card because they're so small. Everywhere around that you can imagine, that anywhere that's close to us, 2 people had scores, school report cards in biology 1 bigger than ours. Chisholm had 74%, and somebody else had like a 58%, 2 points above us. I can't remember exactly who that school district was. Everybody else was in the 30s and 40s, few in the low 50s. So comparative-wise, we're in the top 4 of the 18 or 19 school districts that are right around us, which I feel like is, it's like one of those things. It's not good. We're never going to be satisfied with an F. And I told Dana, go back and work, teach kids our curriculum. We're doing the right thing. She called, last year our score was an F in Biology 1 too. She called the Biology 1 teacher at Chisholm, and they talked on the phone for an hour or an hour and a half. And he said, it's not anything I'm doing, it's our kids. Chisholm gets the very best of those kids in that. They're affluent. They get kids that live out in that school district and do that. And so she's done a few things differently that he kind of gave her some suggestions. Here's what I do here, and she's really adapted to those kinds of things. But she's doing a great job in that classroom, and she's real conscientious about the job that she does there too. So don't think we're going to do something in Biology 1. I think we're okay. And I told her, you just keep doing what you're doing, and let's let the researchers get us a real valid measure, and then we'll see where we're at. Then we'll know if it's statistically accurate. We'll know where we're at. But if you look at the bottom quartile student growth, the third section down there, the overall bottom quartile growth, that's the number that they put in twice. And ours is good. Ours is 90%, but it's still not accurate. I'm glad they used that, and I'm glad our kids made our bottom quartile, which is our bottom 21 kids in our high school, made an average growth of 90%. And so that statistic in itself is good, and that heavily reflects on our student report card because they used that number twice. So we get some bonus points down there at the bottom. You can look at those down there and see that. Advanced coursework, we get 1. College entrance exams, we get 1. The low-performing 8th grade cohort rate, our 8th graders scored enough in their bottom 25% to give us a bonus point there. So thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. Our EOI performance, we didn't score enough to get a bonus point in that, but our year-to-year growth, we did get a bonus point for that. So we're making gains in the high school. Our teachers are doing an outstanding job there. And but I did want to explain, if you had gone online and looked at the school report card and saw those Fs, I wanted to do that to kind of give you a little background on how that part works to do that. But overall, we're real pleased with an A-. There are a lot of districts that are not in nearly as good a shape as we are, and they panic a little bit when these kind of things come out. I'm real comfortable with the job that our teachers are doing at the high school. You guys are welcome to come up anytime you want to, sit in classrooms and do those. I don't know that you have to do that, but you're sure welcome to come and do it because our staff does an outstanding job at the high school. And so, any questions on that?
What was Chisholm's biology?
Their biology 1 was 74%. And there was another school that was 50, we were 56, I believe, and they were 58, yeah.
I couldn't remember what you said.
They were 58. They still had an F, but they were a higher F than we were.
I was just trying to figure out why she made that call, but that makes sense.
Chisholm was far and above everybody else.
Huh.
That's why she called there, because they had a C, and so she called because she thought if they were that, I mean, nobody even had a D. Everybody else was an F. And so she thought she needed to call Chisholm and just pick that guy's brain. And he, you know,
Is there any way to find out where this new data come from?
no, well, I don't know. I called down there and wanted to relook at it. They relooked at it 4 times, I guess. I don't know, but I got 4 different emails. That
I believe you.
So I don't know where it came from. I didn't submit anything different. They didn't ask for any more numbers.
Right.
They didn't.
Right.
I said, I want you to relook at it. I don't know that it's accurate.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe it was a case of the squeaking wheel getting the grease, and they looked at it and saw that we were an A or A minus last year and thought we needed to be the same. And I distrust the system that much as far as what they do. But I think maybe one phone call may have made a difference in the score we got, and it wasn't totally based on numbers. So I can't answer that question because I don't know.
Okay.
And it very well may have been based on numbers. The whole thing seems fishy to me.
Okay.
Did you check your email today? You may be in April.
Yeah, no, I didn't. After these went public, I think they probably quit sending those emails out.
Well, for whatever it's worth, in my opinion, those people don't know how to do anything down there, so you're probably way above.
Well, this is still a Barisi holdover. We just haven't had, Hoffmeister hasn't had a chance to change the way this works yet. I was real surprised that Hoffmeister went ahead and let these come out. I thought she would just suspend that for a year until the researchers got their work done to give, schools don't mind being graded. I don't mind getting graded at all because we need to do something better, and let's do it. But I want it to be statistically valid. I want it to really help our teachers, really help our kids, and let us really get a good look at what we need to do better. But test scores are just that. Anything you look and you see a kid, it's how a kid does on one score on one day. And gosh, if maybe our best kid, his dog got ran over that morning and he didn't do well, and it affects everything that we do. So I want to look at the big picture and see how everybody does and do that and kind of base my score off of those rather than how a kid performs on a test on one day.
What was that called a few years ago that system we had?
AYP.
API.
Where they told us that
No child
in
left
4
behind.
years, in 4 years from now, you
You'll be
can't reach,
1,500,
you
yeah.
you can't make it. I'm like, well, what are we,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another attempt. That was an attempt for the federal government to make
Yes.
schools look
Yeah.
good. That all came down.
Yeah, we had experts in here explaining to us one night, going, you guys are doing great, but you can't reach your benchmark in 4 years. You can't.
Well,
What do you?
that's what we've been saying about the middle school, and Lincoln can't be off of focus.
Yeah.
If those special
Right.
ed kids can't go
Right.
to the next.
I'll give you a story today. We have a student who we believe doesn't need to take the OMAP test anymore, can take a regular ed test. And my teacher said, now, if we do this, you know what's going to happen. And I said, we're going to do the right thing. I said, what's the best thing for the kid? Just take a regular test. I said, then we lose. But we'll not get growth. He'll lose points for growth. But I said, we're not going to play the game like that. If that's
Right.
best for the kid,
Right.
then we let them grade us low on it. So
The RSA benchmark is 100%.
That's
Woo! If everything we know about the bell curve, that's unattainable.
Thank you all.
No resignations, no voluntary separations or anything. Gave you information on the Oklahoma's Children, Our Future, that is President Bourne's project on the 1 penny sales tax. Went to a meeting last Thursday and Sean Hine came. And he really believes that this has a really good chance because of everybody's backing, who the people are the backing. And then right before the meeting, about 3:30, I get a message from the Oklahoma School Board Association President Mike Mullins. The Oklahoma School Board Directors voted unanimously on Saturday to endorse the Oklahoma Children Our Future penny sales tax plan to support public education. So even the school board's come out and is going to promote this. You read articles in the paper, you see where we would be one of the highest sales tax in the United States. But then if you read through that article, we're also one of the lowest in private property and those types of things. What are we at, Lynn? 9.25 here now?
Yeah.
And I think Woodward's something like 8, 9 or something like that. We're to the highest part of it because they have either a half or a penny sales tax for part of their Kids Inc. or something over there.
Yeah.
And then we have it for the college tuitions here. So this will be interesting to see, and you can see the proposed breakdown and so forth on the monies, but people think that this has got a good chance, and then right underneath that, there's already been a bill that's going to be tried to introduced into the legislature that we go back to one superintendent per county. The Oklahoma School Board Association, Sean Hine, don't think that'll flow because when you really look at it, if they do that, they're not saving money because the money's going to go with the students. It's the average daily membership is where you're going to get the money in state formula. So, if you'd cap or cut out every superintendent in the state, I was told that would be 3% of the total budget. So I don't see how that's going to go. I think everybody agreed that consolidation has to come about, but not out in western Oklahoma. It's got to come from southeastern Oklahoma where there are some counties that got 18 high schools in it. They're 3 miles apart. I sit on the Oklahoma Secretary Association Appeals Committee, and these kids that are going from one school to another may go through 3 different school districts to get to this particular school. So I don't know what's going to happen down there, but there is going to be a big push on this Oklahoma Children in Our Future, and they really think it's going to happen because of the people that are backing. And I'll bring you more information on that as I go because I'm sure that we'll probably have it. We were audited for our flexible benefit by our regional accreditation officer, passed with flying colors. I want to compliment the principals on getting all the October reports done and completed in a timely fashion. And it's like everything else down there, we'd meet a deadline and they'd extend it and so forth. I do think that Superintendent Hoffmeister is trying. They had 2 representatives from the State Department at this meeting. They answered lots and lots of questions and very open about it. So I think there's some people down working in the superintendent's office that know about education now and that can really try to help us and so forth. So I see a change there. I also gave you some information. We've been talking to our elementary teachers on what they feel like the pros and cons to one elementary school compared to the other. So those are just examples for you all to have. And there's some really good ideas in there about how this curriculum alignment, how this testing and everything can be a better situation because of the communications between the 3rd grade and 4th grade teachers, if those PLCs could happen within one building. So we will continue to do this and to talk. We are just looking at that one school proposition and what we're going to do. Also, we discussed last week about some long-range plans, so gave you all some information from the high school You know, we're looking at new gym lights right now. Ours are 10 years old, and they keep going out there and doing the ball game. And I think Daryl has found us some, not halogen, what are the new ones? LED lights that we can just replace the bulbs without a whole lot of cost except for the bulbs as they go out. Library air conditioning unit, if we replace it as what Lucky Bills has recommended, it could be either anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 to replace the air conditioning unit. There's some other things that we're going to look at, but we knew that was bad. Of course, the lockers at the high school, the original lockers, they've been painted, I think, 2 times since 1980. Retile the cafeteria, you know, we took all that tile out and just painted the floor, concrete floor, probably 20 years ago. Upgraded kitchen, there's some things that need to be upgraded in the kitchen. It's the original kitchen. Replace carpet, speech room, library, new sidewalks, ag and art room with coverings, upgrade phone system. You know, was it in the newsgram the other day, or was it on something on my email? Traditional phones and the phones that we will have here will not be in existence in 2020.
That's from the county commissioners meeting.
Yeah, read that. But the type of telephone system that we have in our school system will go away, and we won't have any choice. Parking lots, been talking about extending some parking lots at the auditorium. I'm trying to work with Randy McMurphy to give me some kind of an idea of what that would cost, and work with the county commissioners again to go on east at the auditorium and also east at the high school basketball to get more parking there. Stairs on the football tiers. You know, we've been trying to work with Kelly Schlark to give us a quote, to give us ideas on how to do that. He's still working on it, but seems like it's a slow process. We need to put 4 more light poles on the football field in the end zone, and also to put those up on the softball. Softball, we're waiting just as long as we can, probably maybe late June, so that all of that field dirt will settle before we have to put those in. But we still have the poles, and we still have the lights, and that will be in. Daryl Klein's got the drawing, and his technicians are going to tell us where we need to put them. And then Mr. Potter thinks we need a new vocal room, which is going to be handicapped accessible. Right now, if we do have any handicapped students, they're going outside by the auditorium and going down that new sidewalk that we created so that they can get into the building. We can't put a chairlift because the stairwell is too steep. I don't know if we can put an elevator shaft in there or not, but if it was built out between the vocal room and the auditorium now, then it could be accessible to all students. So those are things in the future. And then also new storage room for the gymnasium. You know, we've got all that basketball equipment, and it's always out in that old gym. We're always trying to put suppers on. We'd like to put it someplace else. And then also possibility of a hospitality room, because we have no hospitality for any basketball tournaments. And then maybe make it into some type of a formal, smaller banquet type thing. So maybe the Go Bug Foundation and the Hall of Fame could have their things there, plus a dressing room for our basketball officials. So those are things that we're looking at, and they've come about from the board meetings in the past. And we will continue to bring this information to you. The other thing, Becky and I have been trying to work on fundraisers and getting you reports in a timely fashion. And I would love to be able to take this, but this is Becky's idea, that as soon as that fundraiser has to pay for those invoices, before we cut the check, they're gonna fill out those fundraisers. So you can look at the fundraisers and what they've done so far. Like the Ladybug Basketball Labor Auction, they brought in $35,000. Vocal, Miss Alva Pageant, broke even. Taco Village cards, they didn't do this year, but their cookie dough sales, you know, that's a 50-50 profit there. There's $13,000 coming in their account. So you can look at all those. So all of these fundraisers, as we get the invoices to complete that, they will fill out the paperwork and we will bring you this information so that you can see what those fundraisers, because we try to do it late in June, July, and we don't get them all. So we felt like this was a good thing to do. Any questions on that? And then we did have a substitute policy for substitute teachers, but we lacked two things. We lacked maximum numbers of a substitute teacher who may be employed for the same assignment not to go over 60 days. We had to put in a day limit. We didn't have any limits on it. And then the other thing is for substitutes for special ed, we wanted to put that in there in case we couldn't find anything. So you all need to look at this board proposal and we'll bring it back next month to vote on it, yes or no. If you have any corrections or suggestions, right now we have a long-term sub that's a non-certified person that's going to probably teach for us about 48 days. There's a loophole in the law that if we ever exceed that, we can always ask State Department of Education for a waiver on that. But we're supposed to have a designated time limit on non-certified teachers and how long they can teach in one certification area. And then I'll let Mr. Potter talk about our dropout rate report.
And this is a dropout report from last year, so it's not this current year, it's the year that we finished in 14-15. We actually had 4 kids on the list that it's kind of funny when I look at the list, because of the 4 that are on the list, 1 is truly a dropout. One kid moved here from California early in the year and was involved in some things that he shouldn't have been involved in, and we ended up, he got out of a facility in California, sent to Alva to live with his brother who was managing one of the hotels out here, and his brother was going to try to save him, couldn't save him. He got involved in some things, computer things that he shouldn't be involved in Alva, and we went out there and told his brother put him on an airplane, sent him back to California, and we never got a records request on him, so we have to count him as a dropout because we didn't know where he went. And so that was kind of the story on that. The 2 that were in the second semester were students that actually exceeded the number of days of attendance that they couldn't get credit to do that, so they stopped coming. And one of them is back in school this year doing a great job, completely turned his life around. Like I said, he's in class every day, making good grades, pleasant, happy. So that is a success. He's not going to be on, I don't know if we have to still count him. He was last year, but he's not going to be this year. The other girl that's on the list is, she recently just came back to us about 3 weeks ago, and she's pregnant, and we're trying to get her in alternative school. She's not doing a great job there right now. She's trying to work full time and going to have a baby. And so those last year she just quit coming. So she got too many days and just quit coming to school. So we counted her as a dropout last year. But so of the 4, 1 is truly just quit, and one, we don't know what happened to him, and two, we've got both back in school right now, and we're trying to save them. So that's kind of where we're at with that, and we've got, we're working with a couple of kids right now who have already told us as soon as they turn 18, they're not coming anymore. And so I had one of those meetings today. So he's not turning 18 until springtime, and we've got to figure out something to do with him until that point. So anyway, that'll be next year's dropout report. but 2 of the 4 on that we've got back in school, so we count them that because of attendance, and the state says we count them that way, but we know where they're at.
Seven A, discussion with possible board action vote to approve or not to approve the Alva Independent School budget for 2015-2016.
Well, we've already passed the estimate of needs, and this is just putting the money back into the project areas and so forth. We have leeway in a lot of areas, but there are gifted and talented, there's alternative ed, there's textbooks that we get from the state, and so those are put in there. But for the most part, in this, from the estimate of needs, Terry just goes in there and puts the same amount of money, about 10% more, in those areas. I will tell you that our gross production, the estimate for this year is $2,241,383. We've already collected $865,000 in 4 months, so that's about 40% of the gross production. We're still in good shape. Our gross production for October was still $213,000. So we're still seeing it. And so right now our budget is good. We've got almost $5 million, and we've got everything encumbered, salaries, utilities, and those types of things. So at this point in time, we're sitting good. After we get this budget, then we'll start looking at those comparisons, encumbrance from a year ago and so forth, and see what we're spending compared to a year ago. So there's really not a whole lot about this budget, so I would recommend to the board that you approve as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Somebody's coming in to be quiet.
That's gotta be a little boy.
His mother told him to sit down and be quiet.
7B, discussion with possible board action vote to approve or not to approve the closing of the following precincts for upcoming school board elections.
You all have the information, you've had it for a month, and I know we have looked at this for a couple of years. So I think the biggest thing, if it is closed, they still have the opportunity to vote, and maybe they will vote because they're sent these absentee ballots and send them in.
How come Bates is still?
Coach, I don't know.
They live right here in town.
I know. They gotta go out there and vote.
Out to the vote day?
No. See, theirs is still out there. I don't know why they would be.
They live right across the street from the vote day.
I know. And I don't know why their voting district's still out there. That's a good question. Save a little money. We might get more votes if they did do it by absentee. I don't know. That's up to you all.
Who the Myers? You know anything about them?
I really don't. The only Myers that I know of that even west of town, they're just west of the fairgrounds, and they used to have the old dairy. Be a half mile west on the south side of that kind of blonde brick home. I can remember grade school, we'd go out and get milk. That's the only thing. And I think there were a couple Myers ahead of me in school. Don't laugh because I'm old, Tim. But I don't even know if that's the same spelling.
I still kind of have my same feelings on it. That we'll have to keep those polling places open.
It's up to you
I know
all.
I'm old in my thinking,
That's,
but that's how I feel.
Do they have a hard time finding people to cover the polling places?
I'm not sure on that. Yeah. I'm just amazed if they don't vote and an absentee, they might vote. I don't know.
But they also have the right to come to the courthouse before
Sure,
the election.
they've got
They
two
have
ways.
options.
And the trend has not been there. And
Just, I don't want to discourage anyone to vote. If the weather's bad or something, it gives them the opportunity to vote at a closer place.
it's up to you all.
That's just my thoughts on it.
We just skipped this one.
If there's no action taken, Linda,
I'm just joking.
no, I understand. But if there's no action taken, they'll just go ahead and open. Okay?
Do we know how many people are registered in these 4 districts?
I believe you have all that information there, Coach.
That's just the number of people right there.
The next page is Alva.
Right here. It tells us 7, 8, and 8. And these are listed. 12, 7, 8, and 8.
We had 5 people vote in one.
Yeah. Vote for you.
Does it help you all if I make a recommendation?
Yes. That's me. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I recommend that we close it. Because they had the opportunity to come. They have the opportunity to absentee ballot. And what little money it saves us. But not only that, it saves those volunteers that are required to be there when they have to sit there and there's nobody there.
Just for information, I covered both Freedom and Cherokee, and they both opposed districts this year.
My sister is a captain, a precinct captain at Washington, and there is one, from time to time, there's an election where there's only one person. They have 3 people there. Captain, they have to have a Republican and a Democrat there. And they
For
wait,
one person.
They wait for that one person, and sometimes that one person will come, and sometimes that person will not come. And And she said, most likely that person will not come. And they're there all day.
Right.
12 hours, 7 to 7.
We need a second?
Well,
Well, no, I didn't make the motion.
No, we need a motion first.
What do you want to do?
You can vote.
I make a motion, we close the 4 precincts.
I second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
No.
Martin,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes. 7C, discussion with possible board action vote to approve or not to approve the annual election resolution to call for a school election to vote for a Board of Education member from office number 1.
And this is a standard procedure on this, and we get this information from the Woods County Election Board and also from the Oklahoma School Board Association, so all the information is there. And are you number 1?
I am.
Okay. So we need to approve this. That is my recommendation.
I make a motion, we approve 7C.
Second?
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye. 7D, discussion with possible board action vote to approve or not to approve the board meeting dates for the calendar year 2016 as listed on the agenda.
And if you notice, we looking at 5 o'clock again because January the 4th, we realized we had a varsity basketball game here at 6:30. And I believe in February we have the same. So being able to have a board meeting and going to ball games, whether it's a JV football game at 6:30 or middle school, kind of polled everybody, and everybody thought 5 o'clock wasn't that big of a difference, so that's why we put it down as 5. But these are the dates that will work, that are corresponding to us, and I'd recommend to the board that we approve these dates.
So moved.
Second?
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye. 7E, discussion with possible board action vote to approve or not to approve the mentor committees for the teacher residency program for the 2015-2016 school year.
This is a program that has been brought back, that has been a mandate. Again, I was at a meeting last week in Oklahoma City all day, sat with the director of this mentoring program. I said, what all do we have to do? Well, it's up to the school. But we do have to name this committee. And these committee members are the principals, counselors, and teachers at each school. And they will be meeting throughout the year and helping these new teachers. But we are going to have to set up our procedure after this. So, and it's up to these committees to build these procedures. And administrators, myself, will talk about these tomorrow. But this is a mandate, so we don't have any choice. So I would recommend to the board these teachers and principals and counselors being on these mentoring committees.
The teachers are all first-year teachers?
Yes. First year teachers, not first year to the Alva Public School. Their first time that they have a teaching certificate.
I move that we approve the mentor committees for the teacher residency program for fiscal year 15-16.
Second.
Slater,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye. Item 8, proposed executive session to discuss negotiations concerning employees. Item 9, vote to convene or not to convene into executive session. We have a motion?
Move that we convene into executive session.
Second.
Slater,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.